Caitlin.
Thank you, Sean. We got two questions for you today. The first one is, why did the president wait 18 days to fire Mike Flynn after the White House was informed of his conduct and warned that he was a potential target for Russian blackmail? Because you realize the timing of this makes a lot of people think that he wouldn't have been fired if the story had not come out in the media.
Well, I think, first of all, let's look at the timeline. Sally Yates came here on the 26th of January. Then she informed the counsel's office that there were materials that were relevant to the situation. It wasn't until about 7 days later that they had access to those documents. After that time, they did what you should do, frankly, is an element of due process, reviewing the situation. They informed the president right away after they were informed of her giving us a heads up. And ultimately, the president made the right decision. But I guess the question, or the point that I would put back on you is, somebody came over, gave us a heads up on a situation, told us there were materials. We were provided those materials 7 days later, reviewed those materials, underwent a process of reviewing the situation, and ultimately the president made a decision, and it was the right one. So I think that the process worked, frankly, when you think of the time in which we had the information to make the decision that the president made.
Well, you're saying the president stands by that decision and he made the right decision, but why does he continue to defend Mike Flynn?
Well, I don't think it's not a question of defending Mike Flynn or not. Hold on.
It's a witch hunt and he should seek immunity.
Right. I think Mike Flynn is somebody who honorably served our country in uniform for over 30 years. And I think, as he's noted, Lieutenant General Flynn was asked for his resignation because he misled the vice president. But beyond that, I think he did have an honorable career. He served with distinction in uniform for over 30 years, and the president does not want to smear a good man.
What was his role at the White House in those 18 days? Was he still fulfilling his normal national security advisor duties?
Yeah, I'm not going to get back into it. I will say, as I mentioned, the time.
Do you think it's worrisome that he was still doing that when he was a potential target for Russian blackmail?
Can I just, one thing that I think is important to note is let's look at, again, how this came down. Someone who is not exactly a supporter of the president's agenda, who a couple days after this first conversation took place refused to uphold a lawful order of the president's, who's not exactly someone that was excited about President Trump taking office or his agenda. She had been, hold on, Caitlin, hold on, no, Caitlin, let me answer the question. She had come here, given a heads up, told us there were materials, and at the same time we did what we should do. Just because someone comes in and gives you a heads up about something and says, I want to share some information, it doesn't mean that you immediately jump the gun and go take an action. I think if you flip this scenario and say, what if we had just dismissed somebody because a political opponent of the president had made an utterance, you would argue that it was pretty irrational to act in that manner. We did what we were supposed to do. The president made ultimately the right decision, and I think he was proven that
How is she a political opponent of the president?
She was.
She's the acting attorney general that he kept
appointed by the Obama administration and a strong supporter of Clinton. So that's now, I think, number 4. So, Jim.